Have you ever wondered why a brilliant strategy that works for one company just completely faceplants at another? It's a huge mystery in the business world. Well, today, we're going to solve it. But we're not going to look in a boardroom for clues. We're going to look in the pages of history. And our whole investigation kicks off with one, frankly, staggering number.
So take Toyota. Their lean manufacturing system made them an absolute giant. So of course, everybody and their brother tried to copy it. And the result? A mind-blowing 95% failure rate. 95%. That's insane, right? That is the mystery we've got to solve.
So that's the big question here, isn't it? Why is true, lasting success so incredibly hard to replicate? And you know what's wild? The answer isn't some newfangled algorithm or the latest management fad. Nope. It's been hiding in plain sight for centuries.
To crack this, we need to become history detectives. We're going way back. See, the core ideas that made companies like Toyota titans of industry, they weren't cooked up in some boardroom last year. They were forged on ancient battlefields and in Renaissance shipyards. On our journey, we're going to pick up 3 crucial clues from 3 totally different moments in time. A legendary battle in ancient Greece, a revolutionary factory in Renaissance Venice, and the high-stakes command centers of World War II. Let's see what each one can teach us.
All right, first up, 480 BC, the Battle of Thermopylae. You've probably heard about the 300 Spartans. They were up against a Persian army that outnumbered them at least 50 to 1. I mean, think about that. How on earth did they hold them off? They didn't fight on some big open field. They fought in a narrow pass, a natural choke point, where they absolutely mastered the fundamental of managing constraints.
And this idea, it's not just for ancient warfare. A choke point, or what we call a bottleneck, is simply the part of any system that limits how much it can get done. Whether it's an army or a factory line, your whole operation is only as fast as its slowest part. Even the ancient strategist Sun Tzu knew this, but it's a lesson we seem to forget all the time. Okay, clue number 2. Let's fast forward a bit. We're now in 16th century Venice, at a place called the Arsenal. This place wasn't just a shipyard. It was basically the Silicon Valley of its time, the most advanced manufacturing facility in the world, and it was hiding a revolutionary secret. Yeah, you heard that right. The very first moving assembly line? Not Henry Ford. It was here in Venice, centuries earlier. They would float these ships down a canal, and teams of workers would add all the different parts at different stations. At its peak, the Arsenal could put together a fully outfitted warship in a single hour. It's just incredible, and it shows they had mastered another core idea, the need for speed, or what we'd call fast cycle time. Okay, let's jump way forward now to a moment when the entire world was on fire, World War II. Here, the stakes were literally life and death, and solving problems fast was everything. The biggest lessons learned weren't about inventing some super weapon out of nowhere. It was about getting smarter with what they already had, using data to make massive improvements. So this raises a huge question, one that leaders were desperately trying to answer back then. They didn't have years to figure things out. They needed results, and they needed them now. So how do you get these massive improvements from simple changes? Well, let me show you 2 amazing examples of how they did it. So, picture this. It's the start of the Battle of the Atlantic. Allied planes are hunting German U-boats, but it's not going well. At all. As you can see from this chart, the chance of a successful attack was less than 2%. So why? Well, the folks in charge had a theory. They assumed U-boats would dive deep when they were attacked, so they set their depth charges to go off at 100 or 200 feet. But then, a new team comes in. A bunch of number crunchers, basically, and they actually look at the data. They realize most of the U-boats were spotted on or near the surface. So they recommended a simple but controversial change. Set the depth charges to explode at just 25 feet. And look what happens on the chart. The lethality rate just explodes. It goes through the roof, eventually hitting over 40%. Think about that. One simple data-driven change to a process, and it literally helped change the course of the war. And this kind of thinking wasn't just for sinking submarines. Back on the home front, in the U.S. factories, they rolled out this program called Training Within Industry, or TWI, to get more stuff built for the war effort. The results? Just look at this graph. Before TWI, less than 40% of factories were seeing major production increases. After, that number skyrockets to over 85%. It's just staggering.
So what have we got? Choke points from the Spartans, super fast assembly lines from Venice, and these incredible data-driven wins from World War II. So what in the world does any of this have to do with why 95% of companies can't copy Toyota? Well, as it turns out, everything. Let's connect the dots.
And here's where we get to the heart of the whole mystery. You see, the imitators, they're like tourists. They see the cool stuff on the surface, the tools, the charts, and they try to copy the what. But Toyota's real power isn't on the surface. It's deep down in the principles they live by. They focus on the why. And here's the kicker, the real irony of it all. Where did Toyota learn a lot of this stuff? From that American TWI program we just talked about. The US basically invented it, pretty much forgot about it after the war, and Japan perfected it.
So, real, lasting success isn't about a tool you can buy. It's built on these kinds of cultural pillars. And just look at this list. None of these are quick fixes, right? This stuff takes commitment. It takes vision from the very top. You can't just download a new culture or learn this stuff in a weekend seminar.
Okay, now let's dig into one of the biggest principles that the imitators just completely miss. It's the single biggest source of waste in almost any business, but it's practically invisible to most managers. Take a look at this. It's a real factory's production timeline. From the moment an order comes in to the moment a product ships out, it takes 70 days. 70! But here's the crazy part. How much of that time is someone actually working on the product? Just 8.4 days. So where did the other 56 days go? They went into waiting. Just sitting there in a queue, waiting to be moved. It's like a hidden factory of pure waste. Now check out the same factory after they stopped focusing on making people work faster and started attacking all that waiting time. The whole cycle drops from 70 days all the way down to 24.5. And they did it by getting rid of the waste, not by cracking a whip. That's the lesson from the Spartans and the Venetians, right there on a modern factory floor. It's about seeing the whole system, not just the bits where people look busy. So after digging through all this history, what's the big lesson? What's the secret that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time?
It's actually pretty simple. True, game-changing innovation doesn't come from chasing the latest shiny object or management trend. The Spartans, the shipbuilders in Venice, the analysts in World War II, and yeah, Toyota, they all figured out the same thing. They weren't chasing fads. They were obsessed with mastering the fundamentals: flow, speed, data, and continuous learning. You know, history gives us a playbook for those fundamentals, and it's a heck of a lot more reliable than the latest bestseller.
So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your own work, your own organization. Is there a big problem you're trying to solve by grabbing onto the newest fad? And what would happen if you ignored that and instead went looking for the timeless, fundamental principle that's really at the heart of the problem? History tells us the answer could be absolutely revolutionary.